Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope that you guys have been doing well. I hope that a lot of protection, a lot of love, and a lot of light has been in your direction. I have a cool video for you guys. You guys actually recommended me to make this video, so I thought that I would. I came up with this balaclava a few weeks ago. I wanted to try something different. If you guys saw in my crochet diaries, I showed this yarn that I purchased. It's very fluffy and it is absolutely amazing to touch, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So let's get started. How cute. I'm just going to pull it, the string. I'm going to tie it, right? So it's super cute, and you can see. So when I add the border, I'm going to be having a lot of extra space so that this material that I'm using is not going to be like touching my eye like that. There's definitely going to be enough space around the border. So definitely watch my other balaclava tutorial, because I help make sure that your measurements are correct, because if it's too close to your eyes, I definitely wouldn't recommend adding something fluffy like this. Alright guys, so the first step that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that you have the correct crochet hook for your project. So this is my 8mm crochet hook, and this one is my 7.0mm crochet hook. They are pretty similar, but obviously the 8 is a bit bigger, so I'm going to see which one fits my yarn better for this specific project. But we can see that the 7 fits pretty perfect. Sorry if you hear any crunching, that's just the neighbors upstairs. And the 8 has a little bit more leg room. So I believe that I'm going to choose my 8.0mm crochet hook for this project. We're not crunching the front of this balaclava. All we're doing is adding an extra thick layer around this front part and the neck part, because if we crunch it, it's just going to get smaller and it's going to close more on our face area. We're going to be making our loop, so whichever choice of your yarn, you're going to need to do this. You're going to need to cross it over, and you're going to need to pull to make a loop. I got this yarn from Michael's and I saw it and I was absolutely in love with it, so I will link it down below. Is the front of your balaclava. This corner is where we're going to start going in with our stitch. So you probably crocheted this balaclava with a different crochet hook, maybe an even smaller one, like a 3 or a 4. Since this is a 8, it's going to be a bit tighter to go into the stitches, but if I just wiggle it a bit, depending on your yarn, there should be enough room for it to go in. If not, you might just need to go along the border, and you might need to do some stitches around the border with your bigger crochet hook in order for you to have it go through like this. Okay? Your crochet hook through the front of the hat. So this is the inside of the hat, so it's poking through the inside, and this is the outside of the balaclava. And you're going to take your loop that you just made, and you're going to put that in from the inside of the balaclava and put it on your crochet hook. And then you're going to pull that through the stitch that you were just at. So now you have a loop that's through the front of your balaclava. And now you're going to wrap the yarn around your crochet hook and you're going to pull through one. Okay, so now you have a lot of yarn to work with in the front. So now what we're going to be doing is, if we go through every stitch that is here, the balaclava is going to stretch. And the reason it's going to do that is because we're adding too much fabric in the middle of each stitch, so it's going to stretch. And so when we put it back on our face, it's going to be even wider and possibly show our ears. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to jump a few stitches. Okay, so if you jump 3 with this, it should be good enough. But if you're jumping 3 with a smaller crochet hook, it's just going to make it tighter. So now that we have the biggest crochet hook that I own, I'm going to go through the second or the third stitch here. So let's go through 2 and see how it goes. Jumping 1, so just skipping that and going into there. Okay, my crochet hook is there. End of the thing, you can just tuck that in there. You're going to grab your yarn that's on your yarn bowl, you're going to wrap it around your crochet hook, and you're going to pull that through. Right? Now that we have that through, we're going to pull it again through the loop that we already had, because there's always going to be one loop on the crochet hook. So now we can skip one again and we can go into the next one. Your crochet hook is there. You're going to wrap the yarn around your crochet hook lightly, and you're going to pull it through, bring some yarn with it up, and then you're just going to pull it through that one loop that was already on. So now you want to make sure that you're not expanding the yarn here and you're not tightening it, because if that's the case, then it's going to just change the look of the balaclava. It's going to make it tighter, or it's going to make it too wide. So far so good. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to skip one and I'm going to go to the second one, go in there, right, wrap my yarn around, and I'm going to pull through one, bring some yarn with me, and then I'm going to pull through to there. Okay, and let's just see how the balaclava is doing. It's doing great. It doesn't even look like it's stretched, because then we could tell the difference from here to here, and it looks pretty much the same. So we're just going to continue doing that. So skipping this one and going into the second one, wrapping the yarn around our hook, pulling it forward, and then pulling it through. So that way the yarn is just nicely sitting on our balaclava. And we're just going to continue doing that. Skip one, go to the second, pull the yarn through, and pull this. So we're doing this repetitively over the whole front of the balaclava, okay? So our balaclava is about to end from being at the bottom and it's about to go up. So just see what we have here. So we're going to be skipping one, right? Oh, we're going to be skipping one and going through the second one. Put our hook through, wrap our yarn around, pull it through, and then pull it through the one that we already had. Okay? And then you should see that it just fit on nicely and smoothly. It's not tightening up the stitches like that. It's just pretty nicely on there. That's what we want. Okay? And now when it comes to the corner, there is one stitch there, and then we're going to go into the second area there. So you're going to go through there, put your hook through, grab your yarn, pull it through, and then pull through again. Now, as we're going up on the balaclava, you can see that the stitches aren't as easy to find or to go through, but you're just going to try to wiggle your way in through, because there should be room depending how tight you made your balaclava and what crochet hook you used to make it. So I can say, okay, that's about 1, this is about 2. So I'm skipping 1 and I'm going into the second area, doing the same thing, pulling my crochet hook through with the yarn and pulling it through. So now we are almost at the top of the balaclava, but we're going to continue going. So we're skipping 1. Now you can go in the middle of the stitch or you could go at the very edge, but I think for this yarn I'm just going to go in between the stitches. So I'm skipping 1, going into the second, wrapping my yarn around my hook, and I'm pulling it through a lot so that we have some loose yarn, and then I'm pulling it through. So now just make sure that you're happy with how it looks. It hasn't pulled any of my stitches, which is amazing because I don't want that to happen. We're right at the edge of the corner, and so I still have to go through, wrap my yarn around, and pull through. And then I'm just going to go in the same stitch that I did when I first started. Fish my way, or at least fish my way as close as possible. I'm going to grab my yarn, and I'm going to pull through 2. And now make sure that everything we like, because now it's time to cut our yarn. So once you've done it and you still have that loop on your crochet hook, you're going to grab your yarn, wrap it around, and you're going to pull through. And then with this yarn, you're just going to cut it. What we're going to do is bring this long end that we just cut, we're going to find a little entry for it, because we have to bring it into the inside of the balaclava, because we don't want any of our raw edges facing the outside of our balaclava. So now that I have both of the balaclava raw edges from the inside of the balaclava, we're just going to tie them. So I'm just going to tie it like so. Okay, not too tight because we don't want it to pull anything. And you're just going to tie it close. That way we won't have any of this coming undone. Okay? Just make sure it's super tight, and then this end is ready to be cut. There we go. So as you can see, and if it has this raw edge, you can still cut it down, but that will definitely tuck in and your face will be there, so I have no problem with that. But as you can see, that is our front of our balaclava. Right? How super cute. And then I'm just going to be able to pull this, and then I'll be able to have more fuzz on the bottom. So definitely I am happy with how it's turning out so far. So now it's time to do the bottom, and then this will be done. So let's get to it. So now that we have our top of our balaclava completed, I'm going to show you guys how to do the bottom. We want to turn our balaclava facing the back. I'm going to make sure that we're going in from the very back of the balaclava where we first started. So you can see this little indent there. That is the very back in the very beginning of when I started to crochet this balaclava. But first we're going to do exactly what we did before. We're going to make our loop, cross it over, grab with our fingers here and pull through there. And then there we have our loop. Make sure that our crochet hook fits through. Perfect. So now, since we are doing the balaclava, we turned it to the back. This side, the raw edge, has to be going into the inside of the balaclava. So we can start to crochet the balaclava this way and then go all the way around. So I turned it upside down now, so the top of the balaclava is facing the bottom. My hook through the back of my balaclava, and I'm going to take my loop and put it in the inside of the balaclava, put it on my crochet hook, and I'm going to pull through. Exactly the same steps that we did for the top of the front of the balaclava. So we're going to jump one, and we're going to go into the second. Our crochet hook is through. We're going to put the yarn on our crochet hook, and we're going to pull through. We're going to bring some yarn through, and we're going to pull through that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip one, go into the second. There's my hook. I'm going to bring the yarn forward, and then I'm going to pull through too. Okay? Make sure it's not pulling it too much, and we're just going to continue. Skip one, go through the second, grab our yarn, pull through two. Okay? Skip, go through, pull through one. Okay? Skip, go through, and we're just going to continue doing this all the way around the balaclava. My yarn keeps falling off my crochet hook, and that's because the yarn is getting tight to where I'm using it. So you just have to unwind that and push your yarn down, and now you have a lot of working yarn to go with, and it shouldn't be falling off every time. So it's the same how we finished it before. So now we have our front of our balaclava, and this is the inside of our balaclava. I'm just going to turn it upside down. Okay, and I'm just going to go through a little stitch here. I'm going to pull this yarn through. Make sure it's going through so that I can bring that to the inside of the balaclava. I'm just going to tie it, and then I'm going to make a knot like so and pull that. Okay, pull that tight, and then I'm just going to cut that off. And there we have it. If you like this tutorial, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you aren't already subscribed, and I hope that you guys have a lovely day. Thank you.